All right, this is a picture I took in my neighborhood the other day when I started to get nervous that I was going to miss the whole spring situation. I'm working on my favorite paper, which is Pastel Premier, and this is the burnt sienna color. And if I had had any of the gray, I would have probably used the gray, but I just didn't happen to have any, so. I do really like this reddish paper for the summertime. And I think the yellow flowers will look really good on it too, so I'm not worried. A nice thing about not always using the same color of paper is it helps you not learn a formula about your colors, because the colors look different on different different colors of paper. So that's a good thing. All right, so, and this is actually, I photoshopped two pictures together, one with the tree in the house and one with the daffodils in front. And drawing the house, I cut out most of it because it's pretty hard. One of these very complicated Victorian houses, and I straightened it because my picture was not straight. So I could see that my lines were not running parallel to the side of the paper. So that's funny, I thought this was over way too, not far enough, but it's actually way too far over. So things are actually smaller than I think they are. So that's just gonna be kind of an estimate right there. And now I'm gonna, and it looks to me like my eye level is right about where the bottom, is close anyway, the bottom of the house meets the, it's close to there. It's a little, I can see there's a little angle coming forward here. I might just leave out that, I think I'm gonna see if I can just change this a little bit. Just leave out that second window. Why do I need that thing? All right, so I'll adjust this photograph too, so you'll never see it like I was first thinking of doing it. Okay, and then this line is way above my eye level. So it comes like that, and then here's this. And this is above my eye level too, so that comes down, this comes down, this goes up, that goes back. And I actually can't quite see what's going on here, but there's going to be tree things in front of that. The angle of the window, the bottom of the window runs downhill. Same thing because it's so far above my eye level. So here's this, and then it's really a lot of times I don't get these, I think they're called fascia boards in. So I just put a line, but it's really a thickness. So this underneath part is really a thickness. So you have to be sure that you leave space for the thickness there. Okay, so here's the first side here. Oh, I didn't even see that as two slightly different angles, but they are. Here's that. Here's this. Here's the framework for the window closest to me. And here's the bottom. Here's the bottom. It's all kind of an estimate right now, so this is actually, this point is right here in the middle of that back window, the middle of the width of the back window, so. And I think I've got that too long, so I think this is kind of good. I'm working on this paper. It's easier to erase than the Lockhart paper, since I'm having some issues. Okay, so I think this will be more like this. That's just my edge of the paper, so. And this comes down here. Golly, this is probably too hard for a demonstration, wasn't it? Yes, but just think about it. Maybe you want to paint some houses, you know. It's nice. I was out painting the other day and someone pulled up in their car and it was their house I was painting. I would never like want to go up and knock on their door and say, hey, I painted your house, but so they pulled up in their car and they bought that one, and they said if I came and did more, they'd buy more. So I went the next day and did another one, so they bought two. So, you know, painting houses, it's painting outdoors like that. It's like you meet really nice people and you might make some money, so. Because I'd never met this person, even though she lives in my neighborhood. I just had never met her, so. Okay, so that's this is the window. And then these are all windows in here, so I'll just see what I'm going to do about them. And you could do, you know, you could do a lot of checking with your brush. You could check your angles. I didn't know what's happening over there. Is that like a big, tall, gray wall right in here? I don't really know what's happening. I think it does this. Not that high, maybe. No, not that high. Okay, so here comes this big fascia board. And then there's a window. We can see a little bit of a window in here. Oh, and that's good. See, here's a good landmark. The bottoms of these windows, whatever this gray business is, the fence or something, it seems to start just above the level of this window, so. And then it does that. All right, and then we've got us a lovely little shrubbery. Another shrubbery. And I guess I'll put that shrubbery in, some little shrubbery things here. Is this a door? I guess this could be a door. I can't tell, honestly. All right, well, let's just, we don't have to know. So I'm gonna just start kind of clumping in my daffodil, yellow and white clumps of daffodils. I've never tried anything like this, so like this much of a mass of daffodils, so I'm kind of excited and nervous. Okay, I guess I need to get the windows in here. Wow, it's incredible how big all the trim boards are on these windows. All right, so my window's too tall. All right, so this is the underneath. This is the whole white frame business. And then, I don't know, my window is just in here somewhere. I'm going to tell you right off, it's really not perfect. And then there's also a lot of frame here. Now, where does this start? Okay, so this is really going to be right here. I think that's different from when I just recropped the picture. So. So this window, the perspective, this window looks a little narrower than the one in front, but not too much, but a tiny bit. So they are not the same size. I do not know what the heck is going on up there. Okay, so this must just come here, here, like that. And then here's that window. Here's the front of the house. Here's a little bit of light on this part of the roof that's coming forward. Like that. Just every single roof here. I can't even imagine how much it costs to make these roofs because they are so complicated. And I should accept I just can't see what's going on back there and let it go. Okay, so that's not right. So you can't have a line. Anyway, I can tell that's wrong because it needs to be closer to the angle that I already, one of those was wrong, and I think it was the window. So, and actually the windows are a little thinner, so. Okay, so something like that, I think. Guess we'll just see how it goes. Okay, and then the tree. I'm just trying to see where the places where it's mostly yellow are. And I'm not going to let anything just sort of line up with something in the background. Nothing on this tree just line up absolutely with something on the background. Because I want to make sure that the tree is definitely in front. Okay, okay, so I don't really know what's going on. So you know what, I'm going to start my color, and I am going to start with some sort of a green for the color of that tree, that yellow, the Forsythia in shadow. So I don't know, we'll just see how it goes. Yeah, you know, take chances, get messy. It's the advice from Magic School Bus, and it's very good advice too. Take chances. Honestly, I'm feeling a little concerned for you if you can't make yourself take chances on your paintings, because it's one of the lowest risk things you can do in life. So it's like a good place to practice risk taking, in fact. no special insurance needed. Well, there goes all of my green. Half of it broke off and fell on the floor, and half of it luckily broke off and fell on my tray. Okay, so now I also feel like there might be a little bit of orange in that color. Oh, but you know, I've got all this orange right now already, so maybe I won't go that way. Maybe I'll just try a little violet. And I do feel like this is the orangier yellow down here in these daffodils, so I just want to be careful not to get my Forsythia too orange. And a good plan, because it's a little bit harder to get dark over light in pastels. It's harder to get darks to go on top of lights. So like this, where I didn't draw in all the light and shadow, it's kind of a good plan to go ahead and get in my shadow color first, and then come back and put in my, my lighter color, like where and I'm gonna go ahead and do it too right now. Put in some lights where the Forsythia, where the sun is shining on the Forsythia. And you can see it's not working very well to get those lights on top, this light on top of that color either. So it's smearing a little more than I would like. But probably that's because this is a Rembrandt, this yellow in my hand. I did not want to use right away one of the really strong yellows that is a different brand. I wanted to use one that would not fill in all the weave of the paper right away. Golly, I just think it's the humidity making these pastels crumble. All right, well, that's a start. Okay, so now the house in shadow. There's quite a few white houses, and I wanted to do a white house, so I intentionally took a lot of photographs of white houses. And I guess, you know, part of me wanted to use purple on the shadow in the house, but since I used purple on the shadow on the tree, I think I can't do that. And I feel like the blue I just used is a little too light, so I just wanted to see if that was darker. All right, I'm going to go with that. I think it's more the right value. And I cannot see a difference when I squint between this and that, the right side of the house and the left side of the house, up here in the shadow. But what I do see is that, so maybe I will come back with this. This is that periwinkle blue, so it is a little lavender. Maybe it's like these underplanes of the fascia boards and all are a darker blue. And then I don't really, this is maybe a little too much intellectualizing, it feels like for me, but I don't think I want to start the house, the whites on the house, yellow, because I don't want them to compete with my yellow flowers. So I'm just going to try some pink, because pink is a warm color. And I want the light side of my house to be warmer. I want the change between the value, and it's not just a value change, it's a change between light and dark, yes, but it's also a change between warm and cool colors because the sun is shining. Okay, so this I think goes down more. And I feel like I need to draw in the shapes. Just when I got ready to paint, I didn't feel like I knew where the shadows went exactly, so I just wanted to be sure. And I don't know, am I gonna, there's, all right, so this is all shadowy. All right, so there's not actually too much light on the house. All right, so up in here it's going to be that. God, that almost is like it's a different color. So let me try something a little darker right in there. Nope, that was not darker. Are you darker? No, you are lighter. Great. Going well so far on the attempt to find a slightly darker value. Put those windows in too. You can see how that just mushed right over when I... But I think I still stand by my decision to do the tree first. It's not a painting about the windows, after all. Whoa, lost that window. And there's something, a window in here somewhere. Okay. All right. Okay, so back to the pink. Oh, I didn't draw that really right. Okay, so there's a little more pink comes down like that. Pink in here. Pink here. And even, you know, though I drew that edge of where my frame would go over the edge of the paper, now that I'm painting, I go right out to, I cover up that edge now. All right, and these are the shadows cast by And honestly, per usual, I've got my easel up really high to try to stay out of the picture, so it's hard to draw straight lines up here. That's my excuse. Okay, and so in here somewhere is some of this too. You can see right there where I couldn't choose purple for the house. And maybe the roof is a little ochre-y. God, I don't know, I'm just gonna try it. Just do that for now. And then I didn't get the, I didn't get these in here. Wow, really comes up, the framing is huge on these windows. All right, and I guess that other part of the roof is purpley. I don't know what's going on up here. next year, go take pictures of houses when they don't have any the trees don't have any leaves, and then see how things look, and then draw them then. Okay, well, no, I can't do that. I'll be confused. Okay, so I'll do this under here with this blue color. And then a little more of the purple right in here. And I'm going to use this purple down here to do the gray in the light. Okay, and okay, so the white flowers, I'm just going to start them with a really light blue. I don't want to start them with white because then I have nowhere to go. So I'm just going to try to put in where there's some clumps of white daffodils. So I'm just using this one color to represent light and shadow, just to represent daffodils. And I might, I might be doing more than there really are. But. And then I'm going to use red for the tulips. And I'm definitely doing more of them than there are. And I'm going to use kind of an orange, I think, for the daffodils because they're an orangier yellow. And I'm putting the flowers in first because I don't mind having greens that are affected by these colors, but I really don't want those colors to be affected by the greens, which they could be if I put a green in the wrong where I didn't want it and then had to do daffodils on top. And I'm just going to start this pretty dark. And same thing, all the same. It's just, it's too much. There's too much going on here to make, it's like, why not just start it all the same? It's more alike than different, so. All right, and then now that I've got those greens in, I want to lighten up the flowers. Let's see if I can find a really light blue here somewhere. A piece that's big enough that when I use it up, I won't use it all up before I'm finished. See, that kind of works pretty well, that you start with everything kind of darker than you plan to end up, and then you put the lights on top, and it kind of, it creates more depth than if you did it the other way, I think. And I think I should have used maybe, put this here where I can find it, maybe more darks in here. Yeah, see, that makes those guys look really standout-ish. Okay, and then I've got these shrubberies too. I'll just start them dark too. I like the way they kind of frame those daffodils back there. And then there's this one too, it's really dark. And then the light side of it is more of an olivey green. And this one definitely has more of a dark purple feel to it. This bush, oh, that is not dark purple. All right, not even close. Maybe I'll use some of that in here too. Oh my God, and then I've got all this gray crap. And uncharacteristically, I'm just going to use gray because I just don't want it to compete. I don't know, I just feel like I don't know what else to use. I don't want it to compete with my other colors. Okay, and then that's going to be the gray and shadow here on this thing. Oh, I think I'll add some blue to it also. All right, got one more bush to do something about. A little more pink in here. Oh, I lost my gray. Foolishly put it away. All right, well, gee whiz, there's the start. All right, so, well, the white looks the least right, so I feel like I should go back and I just want to make sure I'm really recording because that would be such a drag. Yes, 34 minutes. Okay, so I'm going to try to make the colors better and then, yeah, try to make them better. That's the plan. All right, well, so kind of the house is not that pink. Okay, so this is kind of a light blue. It's not white yet. Okay, so I think that looks better. Those are probably two halves of the same pastel there. I think I'm going to try, it's kind of a lavender gray up here on this part of the roof. Let's get it a little lighter. Oh yeah, and there's a little edge of the white right here too. And I think I'm going to try that same color on this purple to make this part of the roof lighter. Yeah, and I've got to come up here more because I don't want that to be not covered all the way. Let's see if I can get a little stronger yellow too in here. Well, this is really pretty out there. Golly. Okay, so now let's see if I can make the blue better. And I don't know, just kind of a quick impression is I feel like it needs more pink in it. The shadow on the house. But I don't see anything that seems like maybe this the right color. Who knows what this really is? All right, I'll just try it. Wow, okay. And then this is a little lighter right there. All right, I'm just going to try a little white on the house. I can just find a Rembrandt white. Okay, here's one. You know, really, it doesn't matter because I'm going to spray it and then everything's going to get dark again, so it'll be fine even if I use white now. I think that window needs to come over more this way a little bit. So. All right, and I think I'm just going to try that light blue up here. Wow. Redrawing after I spray it is going to be required. And I don't think I can spray it today because it's raining out. I'd really love to redraw it right away because I just can't stand how bad it is. All right, this I think has more purple in it. I'm going to work a little more on these guys down here, see if I can get a little more. Same thing, a little less just that orange. And you know, I thought for a minute I would try to make the shapes of those flowers, and then I realized that that was hopeless for me. So I quickly abandoned that thought of making daffodil shapes while I'm doing this because it's really too early anyway, but also it just seemed impossible. So I'm just trying to make little marks. And I'll try to deal with it later. Okay, and maybe I'd like to try to put a little bit of the lighter leaves in here. Very bluish. So it's important to kind of also the shapes of the flowers, but also the shapes of the leaves, so that daffodils stick up above the leaves. I haven't seen any that were the leaves come up above the daffodils, so to do that would make them not look as daffodil-y. All right, that's the same red. Swear red. Tulips are a great flower to do as like if you're doing bouquets of flowers and you don't have a lot of experience yet. Tulips are great because they have a simple shape. They only have like 4 petals or something, and you can really see the pattern of light and shadow on them. All right, I just got to get something everywhere in here, or greens or something. Bushes. And I'm definitely going to have more tree because I just don't know what's going on with the roof up there and I just need to cover it up because I can't see it. I'm just going to do a little more right now and then even though it's kind of mushing really badly. It's kind of waxy almost, this color, and but I think that'll all get better when it's sprayed. Okay, I'm going to stop recording, go outside, see if I could spray, and then come back and redraw right now.